But lucky for you, eBay Motors has tires for just about every make and model, plus wheels, lug nuts, jack stands, and more. 122 million parts. Do they have tissues? Oh, good, because I'm definitely a crier. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Hustle up. We've got 8 more floors to go before lunch.
Sarusha's window washing business is reaching new heights.
Wipe, and let's roll.
They need more certified cleaners to keep online reviews crystal clear.
Team, I know we're hustling, but watch for streaks. Candace, can you give me a hand over here?
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our hiring platform instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
If you have a small business, Staples has your sign.
Banners for my bakery?
Staples has your sign.
Oh, posters for my new pet store.
Floor decals for a pharmacy.
Every day, Staples associates help every kind of small business create bold signs to make big impressions. And now get $10 off custom signs, banners, and posters when you spend $50 or more. This is your sign, so print it big at Staples. N72. Visit staplesconnect.com/thisisyoursign for details.
He's a former Buckeyes great and now a college football Hall of Famer.
Look at him go. He simply runs out of his shoe. He's running so fast.
And don't forget about his 13 years of NFL experience playing for the Eagles, Dolphins, Jets, and the New England Patriots.
Watch for the great block by Keith Byars on Pepper Johnson. Bam! Right there. Byars just nailed it.
He's Dayton's own Keith Byars. It's the Keith Byars Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken on Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes, 1410 ESPN Radio.
Welcome. You listen to the Keith Byars Radio Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. Phone number to call is 937-518-1410. 937-518-140. You can hit me on Twitter also at KAB41 is my Twitter handle. Wow, what a week. Oh, man, I'm fired up. I feel good. Got me some Lee's here. It's lunchtime for you guys, so it's 12 o'clock, a little after 12. There's Lee's nearby. You know, it's Monday. It's not a manic Monday. It's a finally good morning, Monday morning, weather-wise. You know, last week I was in here, and I was like, I got to get my calendar fixed because it keeps telling me it's October. But finally, I got a calendar fixed. I got a calendar here. It's the month of May, and hey, that's right, like my girl. So the May here, we got a great day outside weather-wise. So it's nothing to be manic about. It's the day after Mother's Day. You know, shout out again to my lovely wife. You know, we had a good time yesterday for Mother's Day. I took her out to breakfast. Well, late breakfast, early lunch, and then we didn't have to worry about dinner reservations. I had that handled. What do we have for dinner? Hey, king crab legs off the grill at the Byars Cafe. No reservations needed, you know, for that. So, that was my Mother's Day gift to my wife yesterday. So shout out to all the mothers, you know, just listening to the show in the world, because it's always about Mother's Day. Just in about a month or so, it'd be Father's Day, but everybody's going to forget about that. But nonetheless, you know, shout out again. You can't say enough about the great mothers of the world. They make the world go around. All right, but let's get into the sports world. Wow, we in the middle of the NBA playoffs. What can you say that hasn't been said already? There are some really exciting matchups. You know, yesterday, you know, Philadelphia, Miami played, Dallas and Phoenix. And tonight, you're going to see Boston and Milwaukee and Golden State and Memphis. And like I said, I think a couple weeks right before the playoffs started, I don't think I'm going to get much sleep until June because these games are on, you know, late at night and there's so much must-see TV basketball. And it feels so good. You know, this is the NCAA tournament. I always say is my favorite tournament of the year. Yeah, I love the college basketball. I love the NCAA tournament. You know, but it's on, you know, March Madness, all that good stuff, and that is the creme de la creme. I just love that tournament. But after you finish watching the college football the college basketball NCAA tournament, You get to take a deep breath, and then the NBA playoffs start in April. And it lasts for 2 months. So it's most of April, May, and then into June, when we finally get to the NBA finals. But right now, I am enjoying what I'm watching in the NBA. Got a lot to talk about that, but I'm going to take a break, and I want to go back to a couple questions that I had, when I was watching, because this morning, I think it'll be official later on today when the NBA makes their announcement, but the MVP was somewhat announced officially, unofficially, it's always breaking news. So the NBA MVP this year would more than likely, I guess we can say it officially, would be the Denver Nuggets center, Nikola Jokic, or the Joker. We all know him by the Joker. Wow. Back-to-back MVPs. Outstanding player, no question about that. If you watched any of the Nuggets basketball, your eyes can't help but to go to the big guy and watch the Joker play. Outstanding player. Last year, no question, was deserving of the MVP. But this year, it's a question. Not taking anything away from the Joker. I think he's an outstanding player. But do you agree with the NBA? Did they get the MVP right? I mean, when I say right, nobody's going to ever agree, 100%. But most people, and no matter the sport, when the MVP comes out, I think you get 3 out of 4. 75% of the people will agree, yeah. I mean, so-and-so had an MVP type season, but I think, yeah, it's that guy. How often do you say that? And this year is not that year. I had, just because I'm a homer and I love the Philadelphia 76ers and Joel Embiid is my guy, he was the MVP. He was the MVP this year. And followed, and you could put who was second and third between Giannis and the Joker. But I think it was clearly Joel Embiid. He was robbed without a gun. He was robbed. That's just my opinion. You guys feel free to call in, tell me what you think about that, if you agree or disagree, with me. But to me, it was no doubt. And I think I can find 3 out of 4 people that would agree. 75% of people would say it was Joel Embiid. And that's not taking anything away from the Joker. I'm not taking nothing away from it. I mean, he would be on my MVP ballot. He just wouldn't be number one. He would have probably got it between the second and third place vote for me between him and Giannis. Because Giannis, his previously, one MVP, just coming off the defending champion with the Milwaukee Bucks. They're in the midst of it again, right now, in the playoffs with the Boston Celtics. And I know it's an individual award, but your team in basketball, it kind of hard to win MVP and your team didn't make the playoffs, or at least win a playoff run, which begs me the question. I don't really want to be a conspiracy guy. Overall, I'm not, but this time I'm going to be one. I think not just in basketball, but in football is just as guilty. Baseball is guilty of it also. The MVP award is a regular season award. That's what they tell me. And if you've in football, basketball, baseball, seasons are made up of months, not just a 2-week period or a 1 month period, like NCAA tournament. You watch these guys all year. Now, I think all the seasons end on a Sunday. And we're talking about the NBA right now. You mean to tell me every NBA voter cannot submit his ballot by Monday at noon electronically? Because he's been watching all year. How much more time does he need or she need to make a decision on who the MVP, who's getting your vote? You usually get 3 spots on. Am I right, Justin? You get a ballot with three spots. Who do you have for first, second, and third? They don't give you a ballot where, do you think it's Embiid? Do you think it's a Joker? Do you think it's Giannis? No. You get to put, it's a blank ballot. Well, just give me 3 names. And we're going to give first place vote 10 points. I think second place gets 8 and third place gets 6. Or however, the point system go, but you know who your first place ballot is on your vote on your ballot. So if you're a writer, that means you're covering the sports, covering that sport, and you've been watching it all year because you're supposed to be an educated voter, and then you submit your vote. So if you submit your vote today by noon, the day after the game, the day after the regular season ended, why do we have to wait a month later to figure out who won the MVP, whether it's football, basketball, baseball? Why? If you ask me the question, it ought to be announced no later than that Tuesday, Wednesday at the absolute latest, 3 days after the season's over with. So before the playoffs start in that particular sport, hence we know if the MVP his team made the playoffs or not. And then we're like, well, that's the MVP out there. His team did, he did, over the season was MVP. Let's see if his team made the playoffs. And more often than not, it does happen rarely, more so in baseball where the MVP is the league MVP, but his team didn't make the playoffs. Usually in football and in basketball, you're the MVP, your team is in the playoffs. So now once we start watching playoff football, basketball, whatever, we can see you'll see why he's so-and-so's the MVP or not. So when you wait a month to announce who was the MVP, that brings, so you have fans at the game shouting, MVP, MVP. I'm like, it's too late. You can just okay to shout that during the regular season to try to get the attention of some of these voters to vote for your guy. But when you're yelling MVP in the playoffs, unless the MVP is actually on the court, that's just a wasted, energy. You must keep that your lung capacity in your air in your lungs because you just wasted space right now. So the conspiracy part of everything I'm saying is the league, is it rigged? Is it? Why the delay? I mean, especially in the NFL. Why? Oh, we got to have this show, some pomp and circumstances. We got to sell. We have the NFL honors. It's a Thursday before the Super Bowl. We're going to have this big dinner. Come on, watch. You can still have the dinner, and you can still come out there and celebrate who the MVP was, who the most improved player was, and all the other awards associated with it. That would still be a sellable dinner. If anything, I think it would be better. We know, so this year was Aaron Rodgers. So if Aaron Rodgers won the Super Bowl, won the MVP, and his team happened to been playing in the Super Bowl that particular week, you could understand why Aaron Rodgers wouldn't be there. But it's Thursday before the Super Bowl. That person can show up for a few hours or pre-tape something and thank all his fans, and now his family and maybe one of his family members can accept the award, for him because he's getting ready to play the biggest game of his life. But a lot of times the MVP is not in the Super Bowl. Hence, he could be at the dinner and whatever. NBA doesn't even have a dinner. So they just have award ceremony at halftime or on the court before the game. At some destination. Whoever won it. But you're saying, we named the MVP and his team's not in the playoffs. We can't give him an on-court salute. How often is that going to happen? So all I'm saying at the end of all that, guys, announce it earlier. Then we can debate whether or not so-and-so deserved the MVP or not. And I don't think I think everybody is deserving if your name is even in the question, in the mix. So the three guys this year came down to was the Joker, Embiid, and Giannis. That's who it would be. And I still, Giannis is 1-2. This is Joker second. Embiid has 0. And I think if you watched any parts of Embiid game from October till now, that's the MVP. He should have won the MVP. But now my next basketball question is, do you miss LeBron James not playing in the playoffs? Before the playoffs started, everyone was saying it's going to be crazy watching the NBA playoffs with no LeBron James. Did anybody miss him? Do you miss him? I don't know. And LeBron James is one of the greatest players of all time. But I'm not missing him, if I'm being totally honest. Because the basketball in the playoffs this year have been pretty darn good. Look at the series right now. In the East, you got one series tied at 2-2, the Miami Heat and the Philadelphia 76ers. The Milwaukee Bucks and the Boston, it's 2-1 with Game 4 tonight. That's been a heck of a series. You got Memphis and Golden State. They're 2-1. That's been a heck of a series. And and Dallas and Phoenix, they're 2-2. And and the Dallas and Phoenix home teams have prevailed. Philadelphia, Miami, home teams have prevailed. Boston and Milwaukee, Boston, they've lost. They lost in their home court. The Milwaukee won Game 1. And the same with Memphis and Golden State. Memphis lost Game 1, so both home teams have lost, except the road team has not lost. So Milwaukee, can you defend your court? So old adage in the NBA, during the NBA playoffs, it said, series doesn't start until the home team loses. Until the home team loses. So till you give up, you lose on your home court. That's why it was so important in the Philadelphia Miami series to hold court. That's why you fight for home court advantage. And now there's a 3-game series. Both teams have won at home. Miami beat my Sixers twice at home, and the Sixers beat Miami, twice at home. The home team hasn't lost yet. Same goes with Dallas and Phoenix. They looked, unbeatable in Phoenix, the Suns did. Then they go to Dallas, and the Mavericks look unbeatable in Dallas. That's going to come down to a really good series. And now here we are in Boston and Milwaukee. Milwaukee broke Boston's spirit. They stole home court away in Game 1. And now Boston, tried to steal it back in Game 3. That was a heck of a game on Saturday. But now Milwaukee is trying to hang on to the home court advantage, to go 3-1 instead of 2-2, because now all your work, that means if Milwaukee loses, that means they got to go to Boston and win another one. Otherwise, the series is over with. And that's the same thing as Golden State is struggling right now with Memphis. Memphis is, they lost their home court advantage because, Golden State went and got it. Lost a tough Game 2 to Golden State did, and they came home and won a blowout in Game 3. So this, the conference semifinals, we've got some really, really good basketball. And like I said, I wasn't trying to hate on LeBron James or anything but I'm really not missing him. I'm really not missing him because it's other players. It has nothing to do with LeBron. It's just you got to give credit to other players who have stepped up. And stepped up in a major way. Now I'm gonna ask this question. I've been asking this question really about maybe about 2 weeks now. I haven't asked it to you, my listeners. But I've been taking an informal survey. I've been on the road, so I've been out of town a couple of times with the same question. So I'm going to ask you now. Are the super teams coming to an end? Now, we've been in an era of super teams now for some years, but super teams have got to win championships. And what would be, and let's just start with the 2000s. Who was the first super team of the 2000s? That was, you get two players going to join the one hometown player to form a super team. When did that happen? I would say it happened in Boston with the Boston Celtics when Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett went and played with Paul Pierce, and they won a championship, with the Boston Celtics. The next time it happened in a big way was when LeBron James famously said, "I'm taking my talents to South Beach, to Miami." Him and Chris Bosh went down to Miami and played with D Wade, and and it was Wade County for years. And now, hey, they go there. Dwayne Wade had already won a championship, but he wasn't going to win another one without help from his friends. And he got help from his friends and LeBron James and Chris Bosh. Boom, they win it, so there's been a whole bunch of other super teams. Can you come up with another super team that got together and won a championship? What about Anthony Davis and LeBron James in Los Angeles? I don't, that's not really a super team. It really wasn't. I mean, where's the third wheel of that equation. LeBron was already in LA, then Anthony Davis came, but they didn't really have a third guy. Anthony Davis was a major free agent. You tried it in Houston. They tried it in Brooklyn. In Brooklyn they had Harden, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie Irving. It doesn't work. So, and it's really, it's going back to a time where, I want to count the old super teams because they was old when Barkley and Clyde was down in Houston. They was all, with Olajuwon, they was all old. So the major point I'm getting to is that these things always go ebb and flow and they trend all over the place. But the NBA is going back to, you got to draft your players. And I know you said, Keith, you didn't say nothing about Golden State when Kevin Durant went there. Well, they had already won his championship. Kevin Durant was a major free agent. You always have major free agents. But the core of that team had already won championship. And it wasn't like Kevin Durant went there with Carmelo Anthony and LeBron James. Oh, we got a super team. No. That was just a major free agent. That, teams will always sign those guys. So you do that. But I think it goes back to your team and your organization, your front office, your ownership, and your scouting department, picking homegrown teams. And that is where, the teams that are remaining are basically built from home. Look at the Phoenix Suns. Their major signing was Chris Paul. And Chris has got some years, still an outstanding player. But Ayton, Booker, Bridges, those guys are draftees. Look at the Miami Heat. They only have Jimmy Butler as their major free agent sign, but the rest of that core, Oladipo has now been out for 2 years, but that core of guys are Miami Heat, players. The 76ers, the same way, save for, James Harden. But before James Harden, they had Ben Simmons. Yeah, he's not in Philadelphia no more. Golden State, all homegrown talent. I mean, Jordan Poole was in the B League last summer. Look, the only trade or signing they have is Andrew Wiggins. And hopefully someday the number 2 pick of the draft from years ago, James Wiseman, if he can ever get healthy. But again, it would be a draft pick. We heard great potential out of him, but when they say the best ability is what? Availability. He hasn't been available. The Boston Celtics, they got Tatum, they got Brown. I wouldn't call Keith Smart a major free agent. He's just a free agent signee. But it's the Milwaukee Bucks, same way. Their core, outside of Drew Holiday being a free agent, is in-house. So the super team era, I ain't gonna say it won't come back. It might happen again, but rarely. But the youth for this NBA is bright. You got the Memphises. Memphis is a homegrown team. They're going to be good. They're good this year. They may be even better next year to right draft picks. The New Orleans Pelicans, they made a couple trades. I think that the future of the Pelicans is bright. Zion Williamson better get his act together, otherwise he won't be a part of the future. Look at the Minnesota Timberwolves. Another young organization basically built from within outside of a free agent. So they're not really getting these big name super teams. That part is going away. And that's not a bad thing. That's just a thing. I like to see teams, you can follow your player and get him to stay. I mean, this time last year, I was even in the same area. I admit when I'm right and even when I'm wrong. I was like, if the Bucks don't win it, they can say goodbye to Giannis. He's not going to finish his career in Milwaukee. He's going to be out of there. He's trying to win a championship. Well, they win one because I never thought he could win a championship in Milwaukee. I was wrong. That happens. And so I even said the same thing about John Morant. Man, how you think he's going to sign a second contract in Memphis? Who wants to go to Memphis? Well, he's proven me wrong. Said the same thing about New Orleans. Like, woo. But who knows? They may win a championship in those cities one of these days. If not, they got a chance to really trend and get that way. I don't know who does Sacramento have. That just seems to be they haven't had anything since they had Chris Webber. You know, are they even still in the NBA? Don't know. No, they're still in the NBA. But I got a lot of questions to ask. I mean, we have questions to have questions to answer too. You know, that guys went on the internet, so I got Lee's bucket of questions. You know, from me, Lee's Famous Recipes. So you guys wrote and submitted some questions that I have to get into. And so I will answer your questions as best as I can. So after the break, I will get to the Lee's bucket of questions. So Lee's Famous Recipe bucket of questions coming up after the break. See you on the other side.
It's the Keith Byars Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, right here on Dayton's home of the Buckeyes, 1410 ESPN Radio.
I tend to second guess dinners with friends because they're often interrupted by diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or oily stools. It turns out I have EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, which means I'm missing the enzymes needed to digest food. My doctor prescribed Creon, pancrelipase, an oral prescription medication that replaces pancreatic digestive enzymes. Creon treats EPI due to cystic fibrosis, chronic pancreatitis, pancreatectomy, or other conditions.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Tell your doctor if you have a history of intestinal blockage or scarring or thickening of your bowel wall, if you're allergic to pork, or if you have gout, kidney problems, or worsening of painful swollen joints. Call your doctor if you have any unusual or severe gastrointestinal symptoms or allergic reactions. Take Creon as directed by your doctor and always with food. Do not chew capsules, as this may cause mouth irritation. Other side effects may include blood sugar changes, gas, dizziness, sore throat, and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon.
Creon is the #1 prescribed EPI treatment. Ask your doctor about Creon for EPI and visit Creon.com or call 800-633-9110 to learn more. That's CREON.com.
Sponsored by AbbVie.
Don't go through another summer with that awful joint pain. Call QC Kinetics now. Hey, it's Keith Byars. That pain in your back, your knees, your shoulder, it can now be treated with the latest in precision medicine using natural biologics, growth factors that can restore and repair damaged tissue. Really exciting stuff here. QC Kinetics is the nation leader in regenerative medicine, giving you access right here to this modern-day joint pain solution. You can get lasting joint pain relief with no drugs, no steroids, no downtime, and no surgery. You've heard Emmett Smith raving about QC Kinetics. You've read or seen other high-profile people talking about it. Regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics can help you get your life back. Take action now. Get a free consultation. Powerful, effective joint pain treatments with natural biologics are here. Call QC Kinetics now. 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
The law offices of Blake Maceland will fight for you. Call 444-4444. Want more fight? More attention? More compensation? We've recovered millions in auto and injury cases. We don't know what your case is worth until you call.
One more call, 444-444-444-444. Blake Maceland.
Whatever you love listening to, you'll find it on Audible. Best-selling audiobooks, exclusive originals, podcasts, and more. Sign up and start free at audible.com.
Don't go through another summer with that awful joint pain. Call QC Kinetics now. Hey, it's Keith Byars. That pain in your back, your knees, your shoulder, it can now be treated with the latest in precision medicine using natural biologics, growth factors that can restore and repair damaged tissue. Really exciting stuff here. QC Kinetics is the nation leader in regenerative medicine, giving you access right here to this modern-day joint pain solution. You can get lasting joint pain relief with no drugs, no steroids, no downtime, and no surgery. You've heard Emmett Smith raving about QC Kinetics. You've read or seen other high-profile people talking about it. Regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics can help you get your life back. Take action now. Get a free consultation. Powerful, effective joint pain treatments with natural biologics are here. Call QC Kinetics now. 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325.
Want to see the recipe for the perfect meal? Just stop by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken for great food on the go with a chicken breast combo for only $5.99. You'll get our classic Famous Recipe chicken breast that's fresh, never frozen. It's honey dipped, hand breaded, and pressure cooked, then served up with a regular side, a fluffy biscuit, and a drink. This is why our chicken is famous. Get the combo that can't be beat with a chicken breast combo for only $5.99. Only at Lee's. Famous for chicken.
Is your child eager to learn but overly active, easily distracted, and falling through the cracks in the classroom? Summit Academy is the perfect learning environment for students that need the extra push. Their teachers embrace the academic, social, and emotional success of kids who learn differently. They're a nonprofit, tuition-free public school in Dayton, Columbus, Middletown, and Xenia. They educate all students but specialize in autism and ADHD. For more information, visit summitacademies.org or call 1-844-549-8496.
Making Moves is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs.
The Cleveland Cavaliers finished last in the Eastern Conference in 2011 after LeBron James left for Miami. This turned out to help them build their foundation for future success. In the 2011 NBA Draft, they had the number 1 and number 4 overall picks, selecting Kyrie Irving and Tristan Thompson, who were pivotal parts on the Cavaliers' 2016 NBA championship, the franchise's first ever.
Build your winning team today. Go to linkedin.com/sports.
Lotteries might work in basketball, but in business, adding the right people has nothing to do with luck. It's all about talking to the right people. Because when you post your job for free, LinkedIn Jobs taps into a network of over 810 million professionals to find the right people for your role. LinkedIn Jobs helps you narrow down the most qualified candidates so you can start hiring the right people. Go to linkedin.com/sports to post your job for free. That's linkedin.com/sports. Terms and conditions apply.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight. Apply today at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Thinking about gas mileage? Quality oil like Mobil 1 Full Synthetic can help you get more out of every mile. Got an older vehicle? Try Mobil 1 Full Synthetic High Mileage. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP Extended Life Oil Filter for only $37.99. Get what you need for better fuel efficiency at any of our 6,000 stores or on AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
I'm Pablo Torre, host of ESPN Daily, where every morning we present the best sports story of the day. And ESPN Daily is presented by Supercuts. Supercuts is the perfect way to get a haircut if you're someone who doesn't have time for a haircut. You just check in on the Supercuts app or you walk in for a quality cut. The highly trained stylists at Supercuts can always give you that fresh cut feeling fast. And it's not just any haircut, it's Supercuts. Check in now on the Supercuts app or on supercuts.com.
Straight Talk Wireless now has the new iPhone 13 with cinematic mode, which lets you focus on what matters. And with Straight Talk, you can focus on getting the best deal. Our Silver Unlimited plan is just $45 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. And it runs on the largest, most dependable networks, now with nationwide 5G. With the iPhone 13 on Straight Talk, you can share whatever you want, wherever you want. Straight Talk Wireless. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Whatever you love listening to, you'll find it on Audible. Best-selling audiobooks, exclusive originals, podcasts, and more. Sign up and start free at audible.com.
Attention men under the age of 35. You know what really impresses the ladies? When a guy has a few drinks and later gets pulled over for buzzed driving. That could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. There goes let's grab dinner and a movie. Oh, I know. You drive more carefully when you're buzzed. You've proven that hundreds of times. A woman admires that kind of confidence. And you've practiced how to speak if a cop does pull you over. Slowly, clearly, and politely like, "Good evening, officer." A woman admires that kind of foresight. And what woman doesn't find it adorable that you call it buzzed even though the law calls calls it drunk. You can kiss $10,000 goodbye, along with any chance of having a girlfriend. Because nothing says I'm a catch more than a guy who lives in his parents' basement and calls it my place.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
It's the Keith Byars Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, right here on Dayton's home of the Buckeyes, 1410 ESPN Radio.
Welcome back. You listen to the Keith Byars Radio Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. The phone number to call is 937-518-1410. I hate to open up with news coming out of a break, but my phone's been blowing up. Somebody here from Dayton, Ohio. Former Michigan State star basketball player Adrian Payne, shot and killed last night. He was 31 years old, and the details of it are still coming out. It happened down in Orlando, Florida. So thoughts and prayers, go out to his family. Being here from Dayton, a lot of us know the whole know quite a few people, in the Payne family. So Adrian Payne, and the whole family, rest in peace. So sorry to hear that, and I'm sure we'll get more news, as that can, throughout the day. But I want to just take time and just acknowledge that. Ballers recognize ballers, and he was certainly one of the baddest players to come out of here. So sorry to hear that. Very sorry to hear that. Getting back to the show, I said before the break, we got Lee's Famous Recipe bucket of questions. So we're going to get to that right now. So my Lee's Famous Recipe bucket of questions, my producer is going to read them to me, and I will answer your questions for you as well. So go ahead and hit me, Justin. Question number 1.
All right, for the first question for today's Lee's bucket of questions, this one's coming in, and we've talked about this on our show before, but you were a multi-sport athlete in high school, Keith. If you go back to your high school days, what's that one sport that you did not play that you regret not playing, that you would love to go back? For me, it was, it's a sport we made fun of in high school. We made fun of golfers. Like we thought golf, but now I would have killed to go back and actually learn how to golf. So you've seen me golf. We just golfed last week. And, I think if I could have benefited from golfing in high school, let's just put it that way. What's that one sport?
Well, you got a good point. I played 4 sports in high school. So I played football, basketball, and then baseball and track in the same season because coaches was able to work with me. So I played 4 sports. So it really wasn't a lot of room. But the one sport, because you brought up golf, it probably would have been golf. But the sport that would have been in front of golf that we didn't have in my high school. So that's why I didn't come into play. Volleyball.
You would have played volleyball?
I would have loved to play volleyball. I love spiking the ball down on somebody's head. So whenever I, have family reunions or little get-togethers with the buddies as a volleyball net or even pool volleyball, I love volleyball. I wish I could have played it in high school. So I would play volleyball in front of golf. Go against other big guys and just to spike a ball on somebody's head. That's a great feeling. It's a great feeling. So that would have been my high school sport.
All right, question number 2. If you're just tuning in, it's the Keith Byars Show presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. This portion of the show is the Lee's bucket of questions. Question number 2, Keith. Last week you said that if you were a free agent in today's NFL landscape, that you would pick the Philadelphia Eagles. But if you are a free agent in today's NFL landscape and you had to pick a team based on quarterback, which quarterback in today's NFL would you most like to play with?
Well, oh man, that's a really good question. I think my game, and I proved throughout my career, I could play with a variety of quarterbacks. I played with, Randall Cunningham, Dan Marino, Drew Bledsoe, Vinny Testaverde. So 4 different styles. They all got the job done. But in today's game, I could still play with any. I could have easier to say, give me Tom Brady. I would love Aaron Rodgers. But, for me, my number one guy that I was playing with, give me Russell Wilson. I would love to play with Russell Wilson. He gets you the ball. He can move. The guy's a winner. He brings a positive attitude to the huddle and to the team. I would love to play with him. And close second would be Deshaun Watson. Oh man, when he was in Houston, and we'll get the opportunity to watch him in Cleveland this year. I mean, he just wheeled his team, some victories and be like, "You do it." So I'm like, "Hey, I'll help you wheel. Get the ball over here to me. Hey, let's go, let's play." And Pat Mahomes would be in that equation too, So, but you asked me for one, so Russell Wilson.
All right, that makes a lot of sense. Number 3, Keith. This is interesting too. So when you think of the Pac-12, you think USC, I would assume. For me, at Pac-12 football, you think USC. The SEC, think Alabama right away. The Big 12, kind of a coin flip right now. Texas/Oklahoma, one of those two you think of right away when you think of the Big 12. I know I'm missing another. Oh, the ACC. Is it Clemson right now? I mean, the face of each conference. And when you think of the Big 10, you think of Rutgers. Oh, I'm sorry, not Rutgers. Ohio State. But let's take Ohio State out of the equation, Keith. If Ohio State is not in the Big 10, who is the face of the Big 10?
Well, you asked me that question in May. So without Ohio State not being the face of the program, of the conference to carry the water, I'm going to say Michigan because they get to play us once a year in the game. But followed by a close second will be Wisconsin. You say face of the conference, teams that have actually won their conference and their bowl games. And, Michigan has been there, in basketball. They've, won some championships. But so you think Big Ten, you think Buckeyes first because of the great deal of success the football's had. Basketball hasn't been bad, just not to the same standard as Michigan basketball. And so Michigan's football is not on the standard of Ohio State football. So outside of Ohio State, Michigan close second, Wisconsin, because Wisconsin gets it done in football and basketball as well.
Yeah, that is kind of ironic too. You think of the Big Ten, you think of either one sport or the other.
Well, you think of the Midwest, and what jumps out in your Midwest. So Michigan State is close. They would be there in basketball. They haven't been there consistent enough in football on the big stage to win it, to get it. Whereas Wisconsin, they've been to more Big Ten championships on the western side of the conference than any other team. So it's unfortunate they got to play the Buckeyes more often than not when they get to the Big Ten championship game. But Wisconsin can push their chest out and be like, we're kind of the face of the Big Ten too. We're cold. It's cold. People think of the Midwest being cold and stuff, and that would be to the unsubscribed mindset. It would be them. And then when you mention the ACC, you only say Clemson because lately, before Clemson, you would have said Florida State. The ACC has never had two teams dominant at the same time, like the Big Ten and the SEC has.
Yeah, and I like the combination of basketball, football. I mean, Michigan State football, basketball, very good package. Wisconsin football, basketball, very good package. Ohio State football, basketball, very good package. Michigan basketball, football, very good package. I think the Big Ten is about as good as a sports package.
And the SEC doesn't have it. They had it for 2-3 years in Florida, but they haven't no sustained success. Alabama's never had sustained success between those two sports, in the SEC. Kentucky, not even close. So that's another reason why people hate the Big Ten, because they ain't us. They're just not.
When you first started with 1410 Wing AM, I remember you had the Sunday morning show. The Keith Byars show used to just be on Sunday mornings.
Right.
I remember asking you this question years ago. Every championship means a lot. Of course, every sport you participate in is to win it all, is to be the best you could be, and of course, to win a championship. But looking back at your playing days, which championship would have meant more for you to win? A state championship at the high school level, a college football national championship, or a Super Bowl? Which one that you're well past your playing days now? That sounded insulting.
Yeah, that's true.
Playing days now. But looking back at your playing days at any level, which title do you think, man, that one would have been the most fulfilling, if you will, from a career standpoint?
I don't know if I would use the word fulfilling, but you look back, 20 plus years later since I was carried a football, it would probably be in the Super Bowl. Only because the Super Bowl by default, that's not taking nothing away from the state championship. I made the state championship, the playoffs in high school. And my senior year, we lost to the eventual state runner-up in Trotwood. And I remind those guys all the time, y'all was one player away from winning the state championship. And that was me. So if I had stayed there, they would have won the state championship. So that would have happened. College football, when I was the landscape in college football when I was in college to today is different. We didn't have a college football playoffs. So winning the Big Ten was close to winning a national championship, because the national championship really was voted upon. You got two teams that are technically go undefeated, win their separate bowl games. Who are you going to vote for? And it was more of a popularity contest. So, going undefeated and winning it all didn't mean the same as, it does today. Because now you get to go undefeated, win them all, and have an opportunity to play for the biggest ring, unless you're Central Florida or even Cincinnati. And Cincinnati was still some doubt with them getting in the college football playoff. They needed a lot of help to make the playoffs this year because they wasn't in one of the Power 5 conferences. So that's great. But when you get to the NFL and for the Super Bowl, there is no politics. That stuff, the best team wins. And it's only 32 teams. So you're playing against the best of the best. So it's a much better opportunity, gratifying to win that Super Bowl. So I did play in the Super Bowl. I gave everything I had, so I got no regrets.
Every Monday on the Keith Byars Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, we bring you our Lee's Bucket of Questions, 5 questions that come from you, the listeners. This one's actually my favorite because, for us who were only fortunate enough to play football at the high school level, Keith,
right.
Anytime you kind of meet up with your old high school teammates, you always do. I remember that the two-a-day. The two-a-day story is always my favorite because we hate two-a-day. You love two-a-days, and that signifies the season's here, but you hate them. But you were fortunate enough to play, not just have two-a-days in the high school level, but to play college football in the NFL. Compare what were some of those memories? What are some of your favorite memories from those two-a-day type workouts, from those preseason type workouts that they're just trying to run the snot out of you? People talk about their two-a-days from their high school memories, but share some memories you have from which was more difficult, preparing for an NFL season conditioning wise for those programs or for Ohio State. I mean, which was worse? I mean, was there a certain workout you just dreaded the most?
Yes, in college I hated the preseason conditioning test that we did at Ohio State. We used to have to run a 12-minute run and an 800 run, so a half mile. And for skilled players like myself, the running backs and defensive backs and wide receivers, we used to have to run the 12-minute run, which you had 12 minutes to run 7.5 laps. So almost 2 miles, say, for 200 meters. So we had to do that every summer during two-a-days. And that's how, depending on that was a determining factor how well you worked out over the summer, are you in shape. So we would report to Ohio State on a Thursday. You get in, check in Thursday night. Friday morning, first thing we're going to do is go to the track and run an 800. And my time in 800 had to be 2 minutes. 2 minutes and 22 seconds. If it was 2 minutes and 23 seconds, I had to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and do it again. I used to make that. I used to go out and sprint the first quarter. I run my first quarter in about 55, 58 seconds. So now I got a minute and 25 seconds to get it back around again. And so I would usually make it in about 2:10, 2:15 with plenty of time to spare. I have a cramp, but I'm not a half miler, but I'm going to go run this first lap real fast and then cramp up a little bit on the last 200 meters and just gut it out across the finish line. That's what we would do on a Friday. And then we have practice on Saturday, and then Sunday morning we wake up and we're going to do 12-minute run. And we would be in Ohio Stadium when they had the track, those, Jesse Owens ran. We'd be in Ohio Stadium, and we would start not on the starting line, 200 meters away from the starter's line, and we would run 7.5 laps for the same position groups, the running backs, the wide receivers, and the defensive backs. And we had to make 7.5 laps in 12 minutes. If you was a linebacker and a tight end, they had to only do 7 laps. And if you was offensive lineman, or defensive lineman, you had to do 6.5 laps. So that was a lot in 12 minutes. So you're talking for my position group, really 2 6-minute miles back to back. I made it every year. It was not fun, but oh my gosh. I used to come across that bad boy. We had 12 minutes to run, 11:44, 11:45, 10, 15 seconds to spare. But I used to run me a good mile. I would run my first mile would be a little under 6 minutes. Because I still got another mile basically to run. And we used to have an old offensive line coach, God rest his soul, died a few years ago, Bill Miles. He was the assistant athletic director too at Ohio State. Coach Miles used to stand, at about the 3:30 mark of a track when you start here, and he would point out the finish line, be 100 yards away. When you get over there, you've run 2 laps. When you get over there, you've completed 2 laps. I'm like, Coach, but I'm right here. I'm not over there. So then you get over there, okay, well, he did say 100 meters ago, I'm at 2 laps. And he used to do that to make you mentally strong, because, so who could hack it, who couldn't hack it. And when guys who didn't make it, you got to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and run it again every morning until you finished it. I only got one of these in me a year. So
get it right.
I used to hate that workout. But there's another quick 2-a-day story. When I was a freshman at Ohio State, you played high school football, high school. So in between 2-a-days in high school, whatever you wore for that morning practice, you're going to wear it again that afternoon, just try to air it out in your locker. So hopefully it'll drip dry, and you're going to put that wet, salty stuff on again. I had at Ohio State, like day 3, the second or third day when I was at Ohio State, there they change it. They laundry, you get laundry service. So after your socks and your jocks and your T-shirt all sweaty, you throw it in a mesh bag. They wash it and give you a fresh one you come back for the second practice. I'm like, we big time now. We get laundry stuff. It's like your mom is here all over again. I forgot to throw my dirty, wet stuff in the mesh bag and for them to clean it. I get back for the afternoon practice and my wet stuff was hanging up in my locker. I go to the equipment manager. He said, hey, his name was John Bozick. Hey, John, I forgot my stuff. Can you give me a fresh bag? He proceeded to cuss me from A to Z. Who you think you are? He's a freaking prima donna. Your mama doesn't live here anymore. And, you got to grow up, man. Everybody did a baby you. I mean, those are the nice things he said to me. I mean, he just let me have it. And I was so mad. I wanted to go off, but I knew I was wrong because I didn't do it. So I walk away. I take about 4 or 5 steps, and then he yells at me, Byars, come on back around here. But you want to, now I'm really pissed. Well, you want to cuss at me some more? Because at this point, I ain't hear it no more. I've wore wet stuff before. I just did that last year when I was in high school. I put my stuff on and go out and pray. I don't care. And then because I didn't say one word to him, and didn't give him no lip back, he was testing me. Give me a bag. And then he gave me a clean bag. And then the next day, he said, I like you. I like you. You like me. I'm not liking you that well. But he was I love that man. He was so awesome. I had the best equipment than anybody on the football team. And I said, because they used to the other players would get mad at it because he was an old, cranky old white guy. And he just, he used to cuss out Woody Hayes. What chance I got? But everybody loved John Bozick. He was just a straight shooter. And whenever I needed something from that point on, he took great care of me. I mean, I was, hey, Bozick, can I get some new shoes? Let me see your shoes. Oh, yeah, here, take these shoes. And keep those too. Oh, your shoes are on. Come get some new shoes. You see my locker when I was at Ohio State full of good stuff because I took care of the equipment manager. That was my guy. God rest his soul. John Bozick and the family. I loved you at Ohio State. Just an awesome guy. Thank you for the great questions. Hey, we have next week, we'll do it again. The Lee's bucket of questions. Guys, get out, watch the sports. And get out, more important than anything, get out and do random acts of kindness for your fellow man. You've been listening to the Keith Byars Radio Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. See you next time.
It's the Keith Byars Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, 1410 Dayton's ESPN Radio.